Today's podcast is brought to you by Bevel. Bevel is the first and only shaving system designed for people with coarse, curly hair and sensitive skin. Get clearer, smoother skin in as little as 4 weeks when you start shaving with your Bevel razor. Go to getbevel.com/Jack to check out their products and support this podcast.
Get ready for combat. No escaping. Get ready for combat. Get ready for combat. The Combat Jack Radio Show. Stand up.
Internets, you are listening to the Combat Jack Show. I'm your host, Combat Jack. Yo, what's up, A-King?
What's good, my man? I'm good. How you, man?
You know, I'm in the cut, man. I'm fighting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still kind of like healing from the surgery I had. Damn, it's been like going on a month now. Shit.
Yes,
Internets, once again, I thank you for your overwhelming support, man. And you guys have been reaching out and the visits that I've been getting and the mail, and it's just been incredible, man. Y'all really humble me. Let me see if I have any updates, man. I still got this shit bag, which is, I had somebody come over here and they were like, yo, don't be too heavy on yourself. Just look at it as you transferring energy. And I don't know if that helped, but yeah, it kind of took the load off. Shit bags, I'm telling you, man, a month in, shit bags are not fly. A-King came over recently, gave me a haircut. You know what I'm saying? Gave me a Caesar. See, boy's looking fresh. Lost all my weight, lost 30 pounds. So I can't wait to get back in the gym. I see my doctor on Monday. So that's when I start to plan my plan of attack in terms of like how I'm going to, approach the situation. But I just want to say, Internet, that I feel great, man. There's not been a day where I felt, this shit might be repetitive, but there's not been a day, man, when I felt fearful or down or negative. Like I just feel in my heart of hearts that I got this, and as long as y'all continue to support your boy, this shit is a wrap. And the King, man, what's up with you, man? How you been, man? Yo, first and foremost, shout out to Mena.
Yes. A lot's going on, and it's very important, like, just check up on your people, man. Check up on your loved ones. I know sometimes we get caught up in this Twitter and Instagram shit, and, you see a tweet, and people kind of, like, use that as a gauge to someone's well-being. But just reach out. Say, yo, what up? You good? And
you know what? The Internets might worry about what we just said. My boy Mena is great. Just reach out to him and give him love, man.
Yeah.
Give us all love. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the whole crew.
What else, man? Yeah, so I'm just amped, Internet. I'm amped. Like,
I see you.
Yeah,
I see you still. You still tweeting and stuff, right? That's a good thing.
I mean,
You're still active.
Yeah, I would say right now, my biggest fear, my biggest challenge, is that after 3 weeks, being kind of stationary, boredom. Boredom is a real scary thing, man. When you realize that, like getting into this routine or having to, establish a routine in my day, because days come by and days go, and it's like, fuck, I got to do this shit for a while. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I got the best advice from my boy, Tuma Bossy. He called me today from Spotify.
Shout out to Tuma.
And he was telling me how his mom's defeated cancer 3 times.
Wow.
And I was like, how the fuck could she even wrap her brain around that shit or wrap her heart around that shit to have that courage to attack this bitch 3 times? And he was like, yo, it's very overwhelming when you're sitting in a situation that I'm in right now and looking in the future and being like, yo, how do I go from 0 to full health? How do I go from 0 to 1 million? And that shit in itself is overwhelming. But he was like, his mom really approached it on a day-by-day basis.
Right.
And just gauging my day by day by day. So I got to acclimate my mind to that, because, I'm an ambitious motherfucker, man. I want to keep going and going and going. But a lot of my peoples have been telling me, like, yo, Reg, slow the fuck down. You just had major surgery. You healing, and the battle's ahead, so just gauge yourself. So, I mean, all I got to say, Internet, is once again, keep sending me love. the love has been the most powerful thing. Y'all niggas make me cry too sometimes, and I love that. Like crying right now has become one of my favorite things. Like crying tears of joy, of appreciation is just like the most amazing thing, because here we go, King. We started this thing 7 years ago, right?
Right.
And, we've been in our silo, and we understand that, we shifted the culture, and, we inspired a whole generation of amazing people in this podcast space. And all of that. But like when you really hear how, like Charlemagne, I spoke to Charlemagne earlier this morning. He came by and he was like, yo, it's fucked up that we don't get our roses until we're dead or until we're sick. I was like, yo, but Charlemagne, even though I'm getting my roses when I'm sick, I'm still alive. And this shit is amazing. Like getting my roses right now, internets, I can't thank y'all enough, man. I'm about to break down right now, but I'm not going to do that. I just can't thank y'all enough for the fucking thousands of roses y'all have blessed upon me. And it's my responsibility. It's my duty to get by this, to pass this, to overcome this shit so that I can continue to inspire as many of y'all as possible. Yo, let's get to the show, man.
Damn. That was deep, brother.
Was it?
Well, yeah, but we're gonna continue to give you more roses. And
I'm gonna take them shits.
And give
I'm
more
gonna take
roses.
them shits. Let's do it. Let's give roses.
Give Combat some more roses, y'all.
Yo, shout out also to the Rosenthals. Jeff and Eric, they stopped by.
Yes.
They just left the apartment. Maybe about half an hour ago. Very touching. Just even them, man. Like, just always having a spot in my heart for those guys, because I love their momentum and them coming up here and telling me face to face how much I mean to them. Like, that shit, like, is so inspiring. All I got to tell y'all internets is like, I'm not the best cat. I'm not an angel. I'm sure there's some people that will tell you I'm a fucked up cat. Not that many, but a few. But I got my laugh back though. I can laugh now. But all I got to tell y'all, man, is trust your heart. And as much as possible, man, do good, man. Do good by other people, man. If y'all are accomplished or if y'all are ahead in your career, in your life, and somebody steps to you, man, y'all ain't that busy to take some time out and give them advice, man.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? As long as if you're ahead of the game and some cat is on your heels because they're ambitious, don't make it a competitive thing, man. Show love and embrace. Because that's the only thing I could explain, that I could figure out why I'm getting so much love, is because I've given so many of y'all love, and I love that shit. I'm not going to stop. And now that the love that y'all giving me is pushing me forward. I could go on and on and on, man. This shit could be a fucking sermon. I don't want to be fucking Rev Combat. You know what I'm saying? All I want to do is combat this cancer and do our 1-2 every week and continue, because this shit don't stop. And Bombat Dance. Oh, shit, King.
Uh-oh. Yeah, Kardi. Damn, I didn't even introduce our guest yet. But go ahead.
Go ahead. Get into our guest in a second.
Yeah.
I think we want to introduce, like, I know we said in the last episode we were going to go into this blood thing, but let's save that for the upcoming episode, all right?
But I still want to get our guest's perspective, or at least make him aware of this new development.
To my blood people out there, man, Bombat Banser, thank y'all so much, man. Just the love and respect I'm getting from the blood community.
I guess it's cracking up, right?
It's crazy. Yeah. Yo, listen, internets. Our guest today.
Wait, hold on. Well, wait till you hear the story, brother. Just wait. Go for it. Go ahead, Combat.
Our guest today is international, and not only he's a guest, but I'm honored to call him a friend. This man has been holding down Toronto for so long. This man has been a Torontonian representative way before that shit even became fly and sexy. This man, I see him in Toronto, and he makes me feel so welcome, man. This guy has the keys to the city. He's done so much for our culture, and just breaking down the door, cracking open that door for all other international artists that have followed. Let's welcome to the Combat Jack Show, Mr. Kardinal Offishall. What up, Dre?
Yo, I'm here, rude boy.
Rude boy there. What's up, sir?
Yo, man like me is like, I'm like, yo, man, like tearing up. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm feeling this thing emotional, and then all of a sudden, man.
Yo, that's what we do, man.
Into the bombat bands.
Bomba clot, man.
Bombat bands.
Man, how you?
Yo.
No.
Man's,
like, I gotta get into it,
man,
bro.
Go ahead.
Man's wilding, bro.
Give him preface.
No. I had somebody that's real established in the blood organization.
Yeah.
Christian me as a blood. He's like, you're no longer Combat Jack. You're Bombat Jack. I don't know what the fuck that means.
Who said that?
But I still,
Who said that?
The homie West Side Gun. It was like it was at our showcase.
Yes, at A3C.
Amazing showcase at A3C.
Wow.
And he's mentioned that shit several times. And you know, to those that don't know, my favorite rappers right now are coming out of the Griselda Records organization. West Side Gun,
You guys
Conway.
had them early. 'Cause
Yes.
I remember when you had them on the show.
Yeah.
I was
Yes.
listening. I'm like, yo, these cats. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you
Yo,
guys
them niggas is crazy, man.
Yep.
Benny the Butcher, El Camino, fucking Derringer. Them cats is so next, and they've always given me love. But you know, people know that West Side is affiliated, and I don't know what that means by affiliated, but we're gonna figure this shit out. Yo, Kardi, how are you, man?
I'm good, bro. I am extremely blessed, fam. I can't even front, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could get all the. It's not even shameless, yo. But where I'm at in music right now, my G, like, probably when you came up to Toronto. For those that don't know, Combat or Bombat, depending on what your affiliation is. Reggie came up to Toronto and did me the honor of, you know what I'm saying, we did like an official, unofficial live, you know what I'm saying, podcast style interview live in Toronto in one of the most legendary live venues we have, which is called the Concert Hall. And the Concert Hall is also called the Masonic Temple because...
Yo, that shit was fly.
It was interesting because where we was at, the room that we actually did it in is where they used to do their little Masonic rituals and all that crazy stuff. So one could only imagine like the weird, creepy shit that they used to do in there. But still, it was hot as shit in there, you know what I'm saying? But,
Yes, it was.
But, yo, it was packed. And, like, we spoke, you know, for at least an hour and a half and just went
At least an hour and a half, 2 hours, man.
Yeah. And it was, yo, for the city, it was so dope. You know what I'm saying? It was a moment because not just myself, but, you know, Toronto definitely respects, you know, what it is that you brought to the culture and what it is that you do.
I appreciate that.
And yeah, like, it meant so much to myself and to the city, and it was such a great time. But the interesting thing, I'll be honest, that I haven't really gotten to speak on it is that, like, in between that time and now, like, I lost the passion for it, bro, because it's like
Lost the passion for what, man?
For to do the artistry, to be honest, because it's like, and the funny thing is I listen to the show so often, and I hear you know, a lot of opinions, and you know what I'm saying, whether I agree with you or not, Reg, it's one of those ones where it's like I listen at home and all those things, like, they all weigh on me because it's like a lot of times, like, there's a lot of ageism that's going on within hip-hop right now. And the ageism is there's all these blanket statements that are just being put out there right now. And I think it's weird because for the first time, like, to my knowledge and in terms of my experience within hip-hop, this is the first time where, like, the creators of it, the people that maintain the culture, the people that you know, were always the innovator and I don't like saying the gatekeepers, but the people that, you know, kind of held up the culture, for the first time, like, they're getting older and they don't want to feel like they're gonna get left behind, and they don't, you know what I'm saying? Right. And they don't stand behind, in my opinion, they don't really stand behind what it is that they necessarily believe in or what they like or what they love. Because the youth generation is of a different mindset. Now,
of course,
I say that to say there's some dope shit, you know what I'm saying, from the younger generation, but there's some whack shit. But the thing is that, you know, the statesmen, the older people within the culture, they don't wish to be the bridge. You understand what I'm saying? So instead of being that bridge and being that mentor, or, you know what I'm saying, at least a bigger brother figure or whatever it is to the younger generation, a lot of them just complaining and griping, and, you know what I'm saying?
Man, I hate that shit, especially from the cats of my generation, like the old head haterism, man. Like old niggas, like, you know, I've said this on the show many times. Like, you know, I love my generation. I love what we brought to the culture, but at this juncture, so many niggas are sour and hateful and close-minded and just old, man. And I say this all the time, man. It was a conversation I had with none other than Little B, the bass god, and he told me like 5 years ago, he's like, yo, you want to be like these old niggas and wither away and not appreciate and be that conduit to the new generation, or you want to flourish and maintain, you know what I'm saying, the pedigree that you come from, but still be that gateway to the new generation. I was like, oh, that shit is easy. I want to flourish forever, because once you close up, you become old. And I say this to my listeners that come from, you know, our era, man, 80s and 90s and the whole nine. Don't become that old nigga, man. Always stay open-minded. But most importantly, like Kardi, man, like, I want to talk more about this, because
this is very important to not just like my lineage and my legacy, but this is important for like just the hip hop genre moving forward. Because here's the thing. I always consider myself like mid school, because it's like I wasn't necessarily, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, when Busta and them came out in 91 and the Roots, and, you know, like, I would say I became obsessed with hip hop probably 86. Probably like Eric B. and Rakim, Paid in Full. Times.
I mean, that's a great time. That's a great time to be obsessed with this shit. Now.
Yeah, I mean, I came up like, you know, rest in peace. My dad was a DJ, so I came up, you know, listening to a lot of different things.
How could you be West Indian and not fuck with the rude boy KRS-One, right?
Hell yeah, absolutely.
Remember, yo, it's so funny. I wanted to do something earlier. I'm not going to get off the subject. But I just was looking at this old video, KRS-One in his prime. And it's just like so crazy that the history books have forgotten how much of a threat this motherfucker was during his first 3 or 4 years of his run.
Yeah.
Where motherfuckers are like, do not test that motherfucker. But anyway, let's go back to what you were saying. Let's get back to what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing was, I was like obsessed with it at, you know, from that point. So it's like, I'm just trying to think. Like, I think the first piece of vinyl that I bought was either Eric B. and Rakim, or maybe R.I.P. to Heavy D. It might have been the Living Large vinyl. That might have been for me, like, you know what I'm saying, the first pieces that I started to collect.
Album.
Yeah, absolutely.
Classic album.
Absolutely. And I mean, you know, if we're going to go into Hev, like, a reason why that was important for me was Hev, you know, along with Grand Poobah and a couple others, were one of the first to kind of like bring in the whole dancehall culture overtly.
Yes, man.
Overtly into hip hop. What people don't understand when, you know, it's argued about, you know, the origins of hip hop, and we talk about
Jamaica, man, dancehall.
But yo, you know, arguably the Bridge Is Over is probably in many people's minds top 5, if not top 3, greatest hip hop songs of all time. If an alien was to come down here and said, "Yo, what is hip hop? What is that feeling? What is, you know what I'm saying? Like what is it?"
Definitely top 5 disc record of all time.
Oh God. I would say number 1, to be honest, in my opinion.
Ooh.
I mean,
I'm not mad at you there.
In my opinion, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, even if you look at that bass line, that's Super Cat. You know what I'm saying? A song called Sibups that he took and flipped magically and created one of the best. Like, even if you look at it, he's toasting the whole song. Like, he's chatting. He's not even really rapping.
Coming upon the dance with the Spliffer Sensi.
Down with the song called BDP.
BDP, that's chatting all the way.
You must see
me.
Come on, yo.
You can't be with Sharon or the one Molly.
Oh, man.
That's
like,
Jamaican all the way.
Word. So this allows you to understand, like, why, for somebody like myself from Toronto, and especially somebody, you know, I'm a first-generation Canadian. I was the first one that was born up in Toronto. But it's like, not just my family, but the entire city, especially at the time. Now there's a lot more. There's an influx of Africans, different countries from Africa. So Ethiopians,
Somalians, right? A lot of Somalians.
a lot of Somalians, a lot of Ethiopians, Eritreans, so many different people in Toronto. But at that time, it was heavy, heavy, heavy. Like, you know what I mean, super heavy with the Caribbean immigration. So the thing is, like, we related to those people. And if you look at, we talking about KRS-One, you got to talk about people like Michie Me from Toronto, who, you know, linked up and did collabs with KRS in '87 and Scholar Rock while he was still alive. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So,
yes.
Yeah. So these are the things that, you know, that influenced me when I was just a little, you know what I mean? A little kid. Like, I can't.
A youth.
A youth boy. Like, I can't even come out my gates. You understand what I'm saying? Like, without permission type things. And coming from that era, it's interesting because it's like, you know, the Melly Mels of the world, the Africa Bambatas, you know what I'm saying? Like, people that kind of preceded, I don't even know, to be honest, what quote unquote my era is, but, you know, those people that kind of came before 86, 85, it's not that, when I say I'm not the biggest fans of them, I respected all of it. But it's like it was a different style of hip hop.
Of course, man. It's just like
it's fly. It's dope. It's fly because Beat Street, again, for me, one of my favorite movies. You know what I'm saying? Like, I loved it. But the passion for it kind of came when, like, people like Rakim changed up the cadence, changed up the content, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hip hop became something different. It was more than just party rocking, you know what I'm saying?
Right, of course.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, for me, I feel extremely blessed to have, you know, come in at that time into hip hop. But then also, like, by the time I signed my first deal, it's interesting because I remember, you know, when I was able to meet Busta and we became cool, he's like, yo, Kardi, you missed everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what he told me the first time we had a sit down. He's like, my G, you missed everything. So it's interesting because I came in when I got my deal in like 2001, and
this is with Geffen Records, right?
This is what at the time was MCA.
MCA was first, right?
So Common was on there, Black Star was still on there, Roots, and that's why I signed to that label. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, at that time, the type of MC that I was, you could have put me in a box, but like if I wanted to be at a label and a home, like I felt most comfortable with those type MCs.
No, but Kardi, let me interrupt you for a second, man.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned something earlier, and I want to get into this, man. You mentioned, man, that you lost the passion for the artistry.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. My question is, because, I jumped in the music industry in '89 and had such passion for it.
Yeah.
By 2004, I didn't have passion for it. And I felt beaten, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't until I completely walked away from the music industry that I discovered the internets. You know what I'm saying? And then I started discovering music that I never heard before, like MF Doom and Little Brother and the whole nine. And so my thing is, it's not necessarily a bad thing when you lose your passion, as much as you got to find something to reignite your passion, man. You have any ideas what that might be?
I mean, so the dope thing about it, and I guess I didn't really get to finish, is that I found the fire again.
Where?
Yeah. I found the fire again, and it was in. The story is such a real story. It's just that I feel like I don't ever like being that guy, but it's a true story. Where was I? I don't know. I've had the blessings of being able to travel the world still touring, you know what I'm saying, still rocking these shows, you know what I'm saying, still DJing with my Celebrity Marauders family. You know what I'm saying? Like, I move around and you know, we earn, you know what I'm saying, we earn around the world, and it's a super blessing. And I was somewhere, and shout out to Trauma, DJ Trauma. He hit me up and he's like, yo, I'm here in the city and you know, me and Dave trying to go out or whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. We'll hit up this dude and, you know, go to this spot on the Monday night or whatever and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, cool. And he says something else about Dave or something. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. So I got back to the city and he was like, yo, Dave wants you to come to the show. I'm like, which Dave is this nigga? Who's Dave? You know what I'm saying? I was like, and then I was like, wait a minute. And I'm putting two and two together. I'm like, is this nigga talking about Dave Chappelle? And I went I went to the show, and it was, it was crazy. So I went with my wife, who was she was pregnant at the time, and we went to the show, and the show was bananas or whatever. And then it's funny because I remember halfway in the show, somebody was escorted to the seats beside me or whatever. But anyways, after the show, Trauma was like, "Yo, you wanna come up and meet Dave?" I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah, of course." So I went, and I met him, and what's so dope is it's like, because we have a lot of mutual friends, like we felt like we knew each other for mad years. You know what I'm saying? Because he was like, "Yo, Talib first put me on to you way back, fam." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Wow.
and and he's like, "Yo, I've been a fan ever since." And of course, Cypher used to DJ the Chappelle show and all that. He was my, he's my
Yeah.
DJ on the show. And he's like, also, he came up to Canada. He filmed that movie. What's that movie he had, man? The one about him getting high.
Half Baked.
Half Baked. He did, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was up in Canada back in the day. And yeah, he was like, from them times, he's like, "Fam, I've been a fan, and I just feel like it's weird because we're so, you know what I mean, like so closely related with all of our friends." He's like, "I just feel like I know you." So what's crazy is I think it was All-Star Weekend when it was in Toronto, which is not that long ago. And the person that was escorted to sit beside me was Usher. So Usher was back there.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm back there with Usher, with Dave, with Trauma. There's all kinds of it was a really, really dope time. But D Nice was there, I think. And we was just kicking it for 2 hours. It was crazy. He just sold out like 10 shows, double shows every night. Like, it was just ridiculous. But he's like, "Yo, I'm doing this private show tomorrow, and I would love it if you could come and perform." And I'm like, "Of course, yo, I'm there." He's like, "Yo, it's only, you're gonna perform, Usher's gonna perform, and that's it." I'm like, "Say no more."
That's a crazy lineup, yo.
Yo. So it's called the Dave Chappelle Juke Joint, and he told me about it, but I'd never been. So he invested in this company that locks up your phone. So if you ever go to a Dave Chappelle show, you put your phone in this pouch, and it kind of deactivates the joint. So you cannot text, you can't take no pictures, whatever, because Dave he's real big on experiencing life and just being in the moment. So,
and it's a different world, man, especially for a comic where
yeah.
I mean, somebody takes material, that shit, changes into some other different phenomena that you never intended on. So
right.
Good for Dave, man.
Yeah, so we went to this juke joint the next day, and I got there, I think, just as Usher was performing. And it's intimidating, bro, because I'm like, yo, this is Dave Chappelle. It's Usher. It's not like, you know what I'm saying? It's whomever. But anyway, so Chappelle calls me up on stage, and I'm just being honest, like, I just flattened the place, just murdered it, you know what I'm saying? Like, and, freestyling off the top with the band. Because if you don't know about the juke joint, yo, he has members from Prince's band and Stevie Wonder's band that come together and play. Like, literally the illest musicians in the game are part of his juke joint. So I went up there and I killed it. And yo, just since that time, like, we just been like super, 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 super tight and cool. And shout out to the whole, we call it Team Chappelle. Like, there's so many different folks that I've been blessed to be around. My family been blessed to be around. And yeah, man, like, it was a friendship that, for whatever reason, was meant to be. I had my 40th birthday. And Dave said to me, he's like, "Yo, Kardi, if I can reach, I'm a reach." And we in the industry, people say that all the time. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, no doubt, B. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. But on my birthday, on the day, he called me up, and he's like, it was like 7:00. He's like, "Yo, Kardi, I'm gonna be there at 8:30. So what do I got to do to get in?" I'm like,
oh shit!
I'm like, "Dave, I think you good, bro."
Right?
I think you just got to show up at the door. You'll be fine. But yo, he came dolo to my birthday party, and we all rocked until like 4 or 5 in the morning. And he was just like, "Yo, everybody, I'm not really here for autographs and pictures. Yo, I'm just here to enjoy." And he gave a crazy speech, and I'm saying, the whole 9 yards. But So there's a reason for these stories. So we just kept getting more cool and more cool and more cool. And then he invited me and some other people that I didn't know who was going to be there to his crib because he was having a juke joint in Ohio, in Yellow Springs, where he's from. And yo, he had Gayle King, Naomi Campbell,
Wow.
A Tribe Called Quest.
Elite.
He had, obviously Donnell was there, you know what I'm saying? He had Talib. He had John Legend. He had all these different people, but we were all at the crib kicking it like cookout style. Donnell is cooking up the catfish and, you know what I'm saying, barbecuing and all that. And yo, it was the wildest time. But during that time, we had been drinking the whole night and the whole 9 yards. And, Dave says to me, he's like, yo, Kardi, like, why you ain't putting no music out? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, yo, fam. Like, and mind you, this is before the Netflix specials and all that. And I'm like, yo, to be honest, like, I just don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing that's really inspiring me right now. Like, I just don't have that feeling. And he's like, yo, my G, like, he's like, I'd like to consider you a friend at this point, but I'm also a fan. And he's like, yo, you have something that the world needs. Like, you have something very special. And, yo, I know that if I'm a fan, I know for a fact that there are hundreds of thousands, millions of people out there who want to hear that Kardinal energy. They need that out there. And
yes, brother.
And it's one of those ones where, like, Dave don't, like, if you are in the mix with Dave, he's one of the most humble, authentic people. He don't say nothing just to gas people up. You know what I'm saying? He don't have those convos where he's just saying stuff because, he may need something from you in the future or whatever. Dave is somebody who walked away from an amount of money that most of us would never even consider walking away from. So
exactly.
he's a man of ethics. He's a man of principle. And it was from that, from that conversation that, when I got back to the gates, I'll be honest, I just, I went back into the studio, I dusted off, all the, the logic and the whole 9 yards, and just, I just started to go back into it and organically just build up just some vibes, like, and that's all I can call it. There wasn't a specific project that I was working towards or anything. We were just in there just beasting, bro. Just beasting. And it's like, I started working with people that I love and respect. So, shout out to Akon, shout out to T-Pain, shout out to, shout out to Rock City. But then, I had to reach into the dancehall roots. Shout out to Conscience, shout out to Cha-Ching. I had to deal with the younger generation, so shout out to, to Pre, and shout out to, a Latin superstar by the name of Joey Montana from Panama.
Now, this is what you're talking about is the Celebrity Marauders.
So I'm gonna work towards that.
All right.
So in between there somewhere also, it was Christmas. I remember, probably almost coming up on 2 years, and people don't know, but like when I was young, to afford studio time, I used to make mixtapes and sell them in high school. So I used to go to my boy Atco's house. Shout out to Atco. I used to have a little thing called You Know Who Productions, you know what I'm saying? But I used to go to Atco's house and I used to make mixtapes and I used to sell them at school for like $10 a pop. So I would take all that mixtape money and I would go to the studio and we would record our joints, and we would, back in the days of like 12-inch vinyl, we would press them up and we, you know what I'm saying? We sent them to New York, sent them to London, Japan, everywhere, you know what I mean? So it's like I came up with a love for DJing as well. About 2 years ago, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I love DJing. I want to do it in public as well, not just behind the scenes, you know what I'm saying? And I'm somebody who, I could just go, you know what I mean, go for Delph, but I'm somebody that likes to do things with my people, you know what I'm saying? So I just happen to have a lot of talented friends, and a lot of my very close friends just happen to be DJs, you know what I'm saying, MCs, producers, whatever. And, myself, Cypher Sounds, the legendary Cypher Sounds, the legendary Dreddy, who is from the UK, of the So Solid production days, you know what I mean, the So Solid crew. And then also another legendary DJ from Toronto, started from scratch. We formed the celebrity Marauders. It's, you know what I mean, it was my vision that I brought to life, and it was simple. Like, we are people that want to do what we love with who we love, and that's where the celebrity Marauders came from. And yeah, this project that me and the guys put together, like, you know, the vibe was just incredible. And you know, the first joint is out now, which is called Winner. But anybody that knows me knows that although I come from the underground spitting, you know what I mean, like, tear your head off type MCing, I never let that kind of box me in. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm somebody that loved KRS-One, but I also loved LL Cool J. You know what I'm saying? I love the versatility of Cool J to where, you know, he could do I'm Bad, or, you know, he could do all them joints our mama said, but...
And the Hey Lover.
Exactly, but at the same time, he's got, you know, the Love You Better joint, which is one of my favorite.
That's one of my favorite joints.
Oh, my God. Goosebumps anytime that joint comes on. But those type of people are the people that inspire me, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like, the people that never put any type of limitations on what it is that they can do within this hip-hop world that we live in, because it's such an amazing place. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you are able to just take the shackles off and try something. You know what I'm saying? Try and see what that energy is. And I mean, some of them records, like, you know, I've gotten respect from people that I used to idolize as a kid, but, you know, doing some records that are quote unquote mainstream also took me to places I never thought I would see. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been everywhere, like almost everywhere on this globe, just due to music and due to me not being afraid to really produce and engage in what I love.
HelloFresh. HelloFresh is a meal kit delivery service that shops, plans, and delivers your favorite step-by-step recipes and pre-measured ingredients so you can just cook, eat, and enjoy. With HelloFresh, all of the ingredients are delivered right to your door in recyclable, insulated packaging and come pre-measured in handy, labeled meal kits so you know which ingredients go with which recipe. And HelloFresh offers a wide variety of chef-curated recipes that change weekly, including the Classic Plan, which goes with a wide variety of meat, fish, and seasonal produce. The Veggie Plan, vegetarian recipes with plant-based proteins. And the Family Plan, quick and easy meals the whole family will love. Better yet, you can choose a delivery day that works best for your busy schedule and even pause your account for weeks at a time. Feel confident when cooking HelloFresh with simple recipes outlined on picture step-by-step instruction cards. Try things you never think to cook on your own and enjoy eating outside of your comfort zone. Look forward to your HelloFresh box delivery as the highlight of your week, knowing dinner just got that much easier. HelloFresh has certainly made my life easier, satisfying meals, and it's so convenient, and the service is so easy. For $30 off your first week of HelloFresh, visit HelloFresh.com and enter the promo code COMBAT30. That's promo code COMBAT30 at HelloFresh.com. Thanks again to Bevel for supporting this week's podcast. Bevel is the dermatologist-approved shaving system specifically designed for people with coarse, curly hair and sensitive skin. It's tested and proven to reduce and prevent razor bumps, discoloration, and irritation. Your Bevel kit comes with everything you need to get started: the Bevel razor, badger brush, priming oil, shave cream, a cooling restorative balm, and enough blades to keep your skin smooth until the next kit arrives. 9 out of 10 customers continue to come back to Bevel because they see the results: a clean shave that leaves your skin smooth and reduces razor bumps and irritation. Go to getbevel.com/Jack today to check out the full line of Bevel products and support this podcast. That's GETBEVEL.com/Jack. Start shaving smarter today with Bevel. And now back to the show.
The reason why I love you guys' show, I remember listening to, like, some of my favorite episodes is, like, if you listen to people like the LL episode or the Ice-T episode or the Public Enemy episode. And I think those episodes, like, some people are like, my G, how can you listen to this shit? It's 2 hours, it's 3 hours.
They listen to it, though. They listen to it.
Yo, but it's because it was some of the dopest episodes, and it gave you guys, like, really engaged those artists and got them to speak about things other than the regular. Right. And I think for me, you know, anytime I do interviews, it's by default, because Toronto is so hot. Everybody just wants to talk about Toronto and what's going on in Toronto and so forth and so forth. But I think in order to really understand Toronto and what's happening with this generation now, it's important to understand how we got to that place. because it's like now it's like, artists are not only getting opportunities like water, but you know what I'm saying, there's so many of us because we have access to be able to create. It's not like when we were younger, like myself, Shaw Claire, who was the first out of us. Actually, no, Socrates was the first out of my clique to get a deal back in 1995. He actually, shout out to Fuzzy. Fuzzy signed him to Warner Brothers LA back in 1995.
Wow.
After that, Shaw Claire was the next one. Shaw Claire got signed to Priority Records. You know what I'm saying? He was signed to Virgin in Canada and Priority Records in America. And then I came up after that. But it's like, for us to get there was so much sacrifice, because you have to understand, like, it was a thing to
America was on a bullshit. They
No.
wasn't really accepting of international artists.
I will say,
right?
I will say we kicked them doors down, because here's the thing. We would take the little coins that we had, and we used to come and we used to go loose talk, and we used to go on Stretch and Bobito, you know what I'm saying? And we had to stand up against the illest. We used to go to Sway and King Tech, you know what I'm saying?
How important was Sway and Tech and starting Stretch and Bob in particular?
Friday Night Flavors in LA, we been through all them joints. And for us it was important because the culture was different at those times. You understand what I'm saying? It's hard to explain to the younger generation, because literally anybody that can press enter or press send, you can become an artist. But at the time, there were things that you had to go through. You know what I'm saying? There were levels, and there were things that you had to accomplish before you were a respected MC. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't.
You had to show and prove, man. You had to show and prove.
You couldn't be a general without earning the stripes. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't just go from, like, signing up for the army and then tomorrow you're the general that's running it. You had to go through the wars, and that's really what it was. It was intimidating, fam. It was very intimidating, like going on Sway and King Tech, and especially because we was Canadian, they're like, yeah, whatever, y'all go last. You know what I'm saying? But it's like when we were in a room, we used to just tear shit apart. You know what I mean? And earn every single stripe that we had. Shout out to my man Bobito. Bobito was the first person to bring me on tour in Europe. You know what I'm saying? And that was in the late 90s. So I was on tour with, you know what I'm saying, The Roots was on that tour. Dilated Peoples was on that tour. A group called Megahertz from New York was on that tour. Some Philly rappers, like, you know what I'm saying? We had a lot of real spitters on that tour. And I remember the first show that we did over there, they had us go on. They had me go on first. Like, they're like, don't worry, put the Canadian on first. Damn. Yo, by the end of my show, we did a show at the Roskilde Festival, 10,000 people. We had 10,000 people take their shirts off, wave it, like we crushed that shit. By the very next show, we were on right before Dilated, and then it was The Roots, and that's it. Like we were, you know what I'm saying? Like
they repositioned.
Word up, but we had to earn that though.
So you got so you mentioned before you working on this project that you get ready to put out.
Yep. First installment.
The first installment, right? So it's an EP or it's an album?
Yo, these days, I don't know, bro. Yo, I don't even know. Sometimes I can't differentiate between what's a mixtape, EP, album, extent. Yo, Chris Brown just dropped 45 songs, my G.
Yeah, I'm a little winded. I got to like 10, and I'm like, I'm good. I'm good
You
for
know
like
what I'm
3
saying?
years, Chris.
So right now it's a thing to where it's like, I guess if you want to call it an EP, it'll be an EP. But yeah, like the song that just dropped is a joint that's called Winner. And Winner is Reg, I know you remember, I wonder if I take you home. Will
Yes.
you still be in? You see when freestyle music was in?
Lisa,
and
and
the Cult Jam. Yes, sir. So all them type joints, like although, we was into hip hop, we still used to listen to all them different joints in the park and in the community center, all the rec center parties and the whole nine, you know what I mean? All them things. So to me, Winner is just a 2018 version of that. You know what I'm saying? Because I produced it with my man Yogi in the studio. I wrote the whole joint. And to me, it's just some feel-good shit. Like when it comes on in the club or on the radio or whatever, like, yo, you just get loose. You know what I'm saying? And you just feel good about yourself. And I think at the end of the day, the weirdo stuff that I can't really relate to, being completely honest, is I was neither. But if I had to, I guess, relate to one of them, I relate to the pushers more than the users. You understand? Just me personally. Like we came up, we never used to celebrate the crack fiends. Like we never used to celebrate. No disrespect, Reg. The cokeheads. We never used to.
Hey,
You know-
hey.
What the blood clot?
Allegedly.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just being honest. Like, you know, I didn't move out of my neighborhood until Dangerous came out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally, when I signed my deal with MCA, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm doing joints with Timberland and Busta and the Neptunes and, you know what I'm saying? All that. Yo, I was still living in the neighborhood, bro.
Damn.
Yeah, like when Grinding came out for the city, for the country, but just for the culture, that to this day, the Grinding remix is one of the most legendary things. You know, it has myself and Sean Paul on it. You know what I'm saying? And this is the time when both me and Sean Paul were really just getting our feet into the industry in terms of like establishing who we are as you know what I mean, as individual entities. And that time, like, man, that time in hip hop for me was so magical, yo, because it's like, it's not always dope being the first. People think like, yo, being the first to work with this or the first to do that is dope. Nah, bro, because all the kinks, all the mistakes were all worked out with me. So everybody that comes after, they're like, we ain't gonna do what Kardi did. Yeah, he did some dope shit, but there's an easier way to get to where he did. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like we went through first, and it's fine because it was a blessing. And you know, being able to sit in a room with Timberland at a time when Timberland wasn't working with any Canadians. You know, you understand?
You mentioned before being a bridge, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel being known as Canada's hip hop ambassador?
That's the worst title that the mainstream media ever gave me in life. I hate that. Like, I feel,
and that's because you're the bridge, though, right?
Nah, but it's so lame, bro. Like, I need, you know what I mean? I need something harder than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody getting no street cred from being the official hip hop ambassador of my G.
But like,
you know
I'm sure
like,
I'm sure, but you're the one dude. Like you mentioned some of your contemporaries, right?
Yeah.
But they're probably not active.
I'm fucking with you, by the way.
No, I know. But they're probably not active or doing as much music as you are, or in the culture. They probably took a back seat.
Mm-hmm.
But you probably could reach out to a Tory or a Drake,
Mm-hmm.
or they could reach out to you rather,
Right.
and get a verse. You know,
it's interesting. Like I ironically just really met Tory for the first time the other day at a Spotify Live concert. Shout out to Tuma Basa again. They had a Spotify Live joint in Toronto, and that's actually the first time that we met. And he's like, "Yo, OG, take my number. Yo, we need to. Yo, when are we doing a joint? Like, we need to get one off." And you know, I think it's super dope. I love, like, I learned to love to be an OG. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very interesting. Earlier this year, I had the honor of going to go see a Drake show in London, like outside the country. It's different. Like when you're at home and you go see one of your home peoples, it's like, you home and that's how it should be. But when you out of the country, there's just a different feeling. There's a different vibe. So, I'm friends and very cool with a lot of people that's in that camp. And I went to go support because we had a show out in London at the same time. And when I went to go see Drake, I didn't even see him before the show, and I didn't even know that he knew I was there. But it was very important in terms of our relationship because in the middle of the show, like, he stopped the joint and told this little story, and I'm like, oh, cool. Like, I wonder what this is about because I hadn't seen the show. But at that time, he's like, and this man is a legend. Where I come from, you know what I'm saying? Like, one of the, like, just gave me all these accolades. He's like, yo, everybody show some love to my man Kardinal. And at the time, the whole stadium, like, literally, all the phones, everybody looked towards me. And, like, for me, I was like, what the, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't expecting that at all. Like, I was just there to see, you know what I mean? To see his show and show some love. But, we got to chop it up after the show. And it's interesting, you know what I mean? Like, it was a good talk because, he was just giving me my respect due, and I said, yo, fam, I said, to be honest, we did this so that this moment could happen. That's why we did it, is so Toronto could shine, and so everybody that came after me, loose talk again, but so that everybody that came from the city, like, so that we could have these moments. That's literally why we did it. Because when we were younger, myself, Socrates, Shawclair, Why Look, Marvel, Anthem, Scrupulous, our whole, Julie Black, Tara Chase, our whole circle clique, we like Kick This One for Brooklyn was one of my favorite songs from MC Lyte, you know what I mean, from the 80s. Kick this one for Brooklyn, bam, bam. Kick this one for the 90s, bam, bam, bam. Now kick this one here for VMI DJ. Like, coming up, you would hear all these odes to your city. You would hear all these people, you know what I mean, like straight out of Compton, all these different people that bigged up where they came from. But we didn't have anything from where we came from that penetrated worldwide. So for me, I was like, yo, that's why, you know, my first joint when I got signed, the first single was Bacardi Slang, because I, like, people used to think my name was T Dot because at the end of the hook, it said that everybody knows it's the T Dot, because I wanted everybody in the world to sing my city's name. That's what, that's literally, I came into the game, you know what I mean, when I got my first deal, and that was what was on my mind. I'm like, yo, we got to show the world who we are. So when I'm having that conversation with Drake, I'm like, my G, this is how it's supposed to be. You supposed to be where you are right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's what we were doing, was kicking down the doors so that everybody could run through. You know what I'm saying? Everybody could run through. And that's what I love, is the more people that get on from where I come from, I honestly can say, like, I sleep good at night. I do not toss or turn, because that's honestly how I feel. I love when everybody gets through and gets an opportunity, not just to pursue their passion, but to be able to provide for their family as well. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that, you know, that Tory earned. That's something that Drake earned on their own. That's something that, you know what I'm saying, like, we got people like, you know, from their camp, the P. Rains and the Baccas. You know, Weeknd got these kids they just dropped 88 Glam just like last week. Like, there's all these people, you know, shout out to the Jazz Cartiers. Shout out to, you know, people like Speng Squire from Montreal. Shout out to
K Tronada.
Clarence, K Tronada. There's so many people that, you know what I mean, that come from Canada and come from Toronto and Montreal, and, you know what I'm saying, you know, if we go to the West Coast, Vancouver, the first time I was ever on BET was because I was featured on a joint called Northern Touch. You know what I mean? That was the Rascals, Chauclair, Checkmate, you know what I'm saying, myself, Thrust. Like, that's the first time I was ever on BET, was, you know, as a feature on their joint, and they were from the West Coast of Canada. You know what I'm saying? So all those things, we did it so that now everybody can just run with it. Just go. You know what I mean? Just go.
I will say, if you haven't been to Toronto, do yourself a favor. Get your ticket and spend at least 5 days in Toronto. Would you say that? Would you suggest that, Combat? What?
Love Toronto. Toronto is no. I'm gonna tell you why I love Toronto. I mean, people tell you that New York City is a melting pot. We have all these cultures in the whole nine, and that's true. But I've never really been to a place like Toronto where you see the Canadians, you see the West Indians, you see the Africans, you see the Indians, and it's all, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, of course I'm sure there's separation in cultures, but the spots that I went to, it was all one fluid culture.
Yeah.
Everybody was in the same page, you know what I'm saying? And it was the same dialect, same patois, was the same part of the... You know what I'm saying? Am I right or wrong, Kardi?
Nah, word. I mean, you know what? Our city is beautiful. Just like
the women.
Just like, well, yes, you know, absolutely.
Women are beautiful.
But just like any other place, though, there is minor segregation. But our segregation is more of the rich versus the poor rather than black versus white. It's more of a economics thing by us. But the other thing is, you know what I'm saying, like in terms of people being cool, it's funny because, you know, I was over by G-Unit Studios yesterday and did a little interview, and I had to also explain that do not come to Toronto and think that everything is sweet. Please.
They got bloods.
I beg you.
They got bloods.
No, but listen, like in a very serious way, and I don't mean this in a promotion of the badness that goes on up there, because to be honest, that ain't nothing that I celebrate. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm one of those people that if you know me, like when I was younger, I came up in Flemo until I was, that's an area called Flemington Park. I came up in Flemo until I was like about 12 or 13. Then I dipped over to Scarborough for a couple of years, and then I came up in Oakwood and Vaughan, over by Vaughan Road. And it's like I lived, you know, in the neighborhoods my whole life, but I was able to get out because I had people that, I had the OGs that used to mentor me, you know what I'm saying, and they used to look out for me. And another neighborhood that I used to go to, shout out to the PO, to Alexandra Park, like, I had people that literally said, yo, like, this drug thing ain't for you, fam. So I don't want to see you out here. You know what I mean? I want to see you pushing nothing. Like, I want to see you in studio. And literally, them cats used to, like, break me off sometimes, like, a few $100s. Like, yo, go to studio, do your thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do your thing. And it's like, to me, that is the realest shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is the realest shit. And I think Toronto is a beautiful place, but just like anywhere else where there is that going to be that struggle in terms of economy and who's making the money and the haves versus the have-nots, anywhere where that is a struggle, ghettos are created. And wherever ghettos are created, you have people that have a similar struggle. That's why, and one of the things that I learned, whether it's Brazil, whether it's London, whether it's America, whether it's the Caribbean, anywhere you go, there are people that live and come from the ghetto. But the only difference is I'm really of a firm belief that, in terms of getting out, it really is a mental thing. You understand what I'm saying? And if you are somebody that is mentally tough enough, you know what I mean, to get out of the ghetto situation. And I think, shout out to everybody that's in Toronto. A lot of times people are like, what, they got hoods in Toronto? Oh, word? Oh, y'all got shooters up in Toronto? Like, they think it's funny. They think it's funny.
Yo,
but
let me
wild,
tell you, man. No, let me tell you something, man. Last time I drove my car to Toronto, man.
Oh, man.
I got jacked. I was on my way back from Toronto. This is Midtown, man, daytime. Parked my shit in the municipal shit, man. Went to have lunch for daylight, Sunday. Nigga, I came back, window bust. Mac top taken. Polo coat taken.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Everything. Them niggas clean me out. Don't sleep on Toronto, brethren.
Listen,
Do not sleep on Toronto.
I'm telling you, one day you guys got to do, in my humble opinion, you know what I'm saying, and Reg, when you back up and traveling, and that will be soon. So when this is a goal that you can work towards, is you need to reach Toronto and do a Combat Jack live, but have certain people on that panel that can really be able to talk about the different generations and all the different things that happened, from back in the 80s till now within Toronto, because our culture is so rich, like people don't understand. But if you were to go and talk to Biz Markie, talk to Public Enemy, LL Cool J, BDP, all of these acts used to come up to Toronto since the mid 80s. You understand what I'm saying? And they used to play all those legendary places, but places like the concert hall, like, that was no joke. You understand what I'm saying? Like, literally, it was no joke. Like, I remember
Toronto ain't brand new, y'all. It ain't brand new.
Absolutely not. So that's the thing.
Drake ain't discovered Toronto.
You know what I'm saying?
No shots to Drake.
No. Not absolutely not. But the thing was, it's like our city is very, 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 very thorough, yo. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I had to, I count my blessings all the time when I look back. The amount of shootings that we used to have in the clubs, the amount of stabbings we used to have. Like, Toronto used to be dumb wild. Like, it's still wild, but just in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we wanted to be a part of the culture, but to be a part of that culture, you would have had to, you know what I'm saying, like, mess with the safety of your life, just to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it was, because if you wanted to be in it, this week could be, you know what I mean, could be gravy, and then the next week is something else. But, I was there, and I loved, when J. Rue the Damager came to town, Gangstar came to town, when everybody came to town, like, yo, those days were super amazing. But there's amazing days that are here with us right now, and I think it's because you have the people that are curating the culture still, like the Tuma Bassas behind the scenes, you know what I'm saying, and other folks like that have a real passion for this. As long as we have those type people, the Combats of the world, you know what I mean, the A-Kings of the world, everybody that really has a passion for this culture, that are still helping to curate in their own way, we are still going to be able to create those experiences for the younger cats that are coming up, like, without question.
Yes, sir.
Without question, yo.
Yo, we covered a lot
We bounce all over. You know, the funny thing is we covered so much and we didn't cover shit.
But you know what's like I didn't even get into the your affiliation with Little X and introducing in Hype Williams, and, which is very, very important in my mind in terms of the visual.
We'll do a quick story because that is extremely important. As I said that, and then I just realized how in '92 when Rodney King verdict happened, I believe it was 1992, there was a ripple effect that went all the way to Toronto, to where we rioted on Yonge Street, broke into all the jewelry stores, all the clothing stores. I remember, because I don't know, we didn't have Twitter, we didn't have social media at that time, but I remember the day before, like it was going around like wildfire. Tomorrow we going down to Yonge Street, we gonna tear it up. And Yonge Street got torn up. And I remember the provincial government, which is like the state government, they created this thing that's called the JOY program, which stands for Jobs for Ontario's Youth. Ontario is the province that Toronto is in. And there was something in '93 that was called Fresh Elements. And Fresh Elements was the government together with the Toronto Arts Council that put together this program, that dealt with the arts, whether it be music, theater, whatever. And in 1993, I was part of it, and then it grew into something called Fresh Arts. And the Fresh Arts program had so many legendary artists go through that program. Now, in 1995, by that time, they actually gave me my own section to run, and I named it the Maroon Squad. That's a whole other thing. If you guys know about the history of the Maroons, you know why I called it the Maroon Squad. But go out there, do a little history, learn about the Maroons and what they were able to do as a slave people and the whole 9 yards. But anyways, so in the Maroon Squad, Little X at the time, before he was Director X, Little X was one of the people that worked, within my section. And we took a trip to New York City because at the time we wanted to go, visit, Nervous Records. We wanted to go visit all these different labels and, like really get to talk to the people and see what it was, because at the time that's what the whole Fresh Arts program was about. It was about creating the arts, but also about learning the business side of it. And in 1995, that is when we took that trip, that's when Little X dropped his demo off to Hype Williams' production studio. And Hype loved it, and I remember X saying, I get to go be Hype's intern. And one of the legendary videos that he did was Old Time Killin', which turned into the blueprint for Usher's videos, for Sean Paul's videos, and all these. You know, understand what I'm saying? Like, it was literally
classic video, bro.
It changed how we looked at videos. Period.
Absolutely,
and I remember, and we paid attention more to who the video directors now were, the Brett Ratners.
That's because of Kardi, yo.
Yeah.
All because of Kardi, yo.
Listen, it's one of them ones where it's like, I can't, hats
Chris
off
Robinson.
Hats off to X, because I remember up until the night before of Old Time Killing, we had no idea of what the treatment was. We're like, X, what is this video? He sent us back 3 sentences. It will be colorful. It will be representative of the culture. It will be dope.
Hold up. What's that you listening to, Combat?
I'm just looking at some old Kardi officials. I'm looking videos. I'm looking at him rip. I was just watching the old school Killing, and I'm watching him killing. Old Time Killing. Now I'm watching him kill Sway in the morning.
Dope.
You know what I'm
saying? So we about to wrap this up, right?
Yeah.
Who's your top 5?
Ooh, I thought I was gonna be able to skate that.
Nope.
Damn.
Nope. No particular
top
order.
5.
And it's your top 5.
And just for the record, I'm gonna speak for some of those people that are not able to speak. Combat, you crazy with not calling out some people with their garbage top 5s. I'm just saying. No. I'm just saying.
Kardi,
I know you're very political. You're like, yeah, there's no judgment. There's judgment, fam. A lot of us are judging at home, rude boy. Trust me, a lot of us are judging. I'm like, man, this man crazy.
Listen, man. Listen, I'm not being political. All right,
I'm playing with you. I'm playing with you. You don't even have to explain. I'm just playing with you, my G.
I'm gonna explain.
Loose talk.
Let me explain.
All right, go on.
Anybody's top 5 is their personal top 5. You understand what I'm saying? It could have been a record that changed. It's so subjective 'Cause I don't have no business, me personally, me Combat, I got no business questioning somebody else's top 5 because that's personal to them.
Mm-hmm. But if
You
we
know what
if
I mean?
we all if we all thought that way, the barbershops would be silent, yo. You understand us? you got to challenge a man's top 5. I'm just saying, you have to challenge.
I mean, you
top
know,
5.
people challenge me that Nas ain't in my top 5.
Yeah,
all the
you
time.
bugging.
I mean, okay,
Skid it, pop, pop, pop.
okay. Kardi, who's your top 5, man?
All right. I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I think as a long-time loyal Combat Jack fan and supporter, I can do this. And I'm going to try to break it down into 2 categories. My top 5 lyricists would be Black Thought, Elzai, Andre 3000, Pharaoh Monch.
Wow.
Oh, and Kendrick. If I had to do top 5 lyricists.
That's dope.
It's hard. That is loose talk. It's hard to do. People will be like, what about this guy? What about this guy? But just off top, those would be my top 5 lyricists. Top 5, if you're talking about just Kardi's personal of all time, it would have to be, we'd have to say, and when I say this, I'm not going to include any of these present day MCs. People that I grew up on that I think are the greatest of all time would be KRS-One would be there. Big Daddy Kane.
Yes.
Big Daddy Kane would be there.
That's 2 of mine right there.
Rakim.
Yes.
Rakim. Busta. And I'm gonna talk briefly, 5 seconds about Busta. People don't put Busta in there because, Busta was somebody, we love Busta's whole persona. We love Busta because
he was charismatic.
Like
the
Busta,
whole entertainment package.
Right. But if you Busta is like one of the greatest artists to me. And to just to a lot of people, he was so innovative. He was so creative. A lot of people being able to express themselves in a certain type of way and with no fear was because Busta used to be in these wild outfits with his dreads tied up in mad ponytails, and people would be like, "Yo, this man look before he could say anything, he's ripping your face off."
He was the go-to feature guy for a minute,
man,
for a nice run.
Yep.
You put out a record, we got to get Busta on it.
Yep.
Where my niggas is at? Where my bitches is at?
And then if I had to put one more, and this is just a personal, and this is just for today, I would have to say, for me, it would be
talk for top 5.
It would be Heavy D. Heavy D as the
wow.
First. And I would
say,
what?
Shout out to my girl Naima, who did an amazing thread that went viral on Twitter about how important Heavy D was to the culture and how he brought us to this stage right now, man.
Shout outs to Hev. I'll be honest.
The
last text that I got from Hev was, this is when Mark Pitts used to manage me. Shout out to the whole Buy Storm a couple years ago. That's still the family, but Hev texted me and said, "Yo, I'm gonna hit up Mark because I want to executive produce your next album. I got the crazy idea. Kardi,
that would have been crazy.
Me." Yeah, and I mean, that
would have been crazy.
Me and Hev had just started to become close, yo. So rest in peace to Hev, man.
And, it's funny because we could close out. I think Nas had a story about that where the lead single for Life is Good was produced by Hev. It was a track that Hev wanted to get to Nas, and they had that New York City, and it ended up being one of Nas's lead single.
Oh man,
right.
Hev is just one of the and to this day, Hev has no cursing in any of his music.
Don't curse. He had a song called "Don't Curse."
Of course. Hev was.
Wasn't Coochie rap on that shit?
Yes, he was. Yes,
How do
he
you
was.
get Cool G Rap, not Cool G Rap and Puba?
Hev could
Not
do
to
it.
curse on the record.
Hev could do it. You know what I mean? Hev was somebody who, you know, incorporated the dance hall in his thing. Hev was somebody who was in the mainstream, but also could hold his own, you know what I'm saying, when it came to being in any type of company, man. Like, Hev was somebody who, from the time I was a little kid until I got to meet him and become his friend, somebody that was very special when it comes to this music thing. So it's only right that, you know, that be my last person on the top 5, yo.
I miss Heavy D so much, man.
Shout out
As
to
an
Hev, man.
as an individual
Mm-hmm.
and as an artist, man. That dude was so generous, man.
Yep, and as a yard man, because
Yard man,
Loose
big
talk.
boy.
as a yard man, because you don't know, we are a different type of people, and we think that Jamaicans run the world, and that's because they do. So, internets, it's been a pleasure.
Kardi, man, we got to do this over and over and over again, man.
Yo, listen, you already know. Listen, this is family right here. You know what I'm saying? On and off of the podcast, like it's family. You know, Combat Reg, you know what it is, man. I'm gonna check in on you. Internets, a lot of you guys don't know. I would text Combat weekly to be like, yo,
A lot.
that podcast was dumb ill, yo, or I don't know, how would you have that crazy nigga on the show? Like, you know what I mean? Like on the weekly, but you know, this is literally family, yo. This is not gonna be, you know, the last time at all. You know, this was just because I'm in your city, you know what I'm saying? And to me, as per usual, this is an honor. So hopefully the people that are listening to this will be able to go home and have these conversations about being the bridge. They'll talk about the young generation. They'll talk about, you know what I'm saying, I don't like calling them the old generation because it sounds crazy, but hopefully, you know, we can start to have better conversations within hip-hop, you know what I'm saying? Dash away the ageism, dash away, you know, the racism and everything else that's holding us back within this hip-hop thing, man. We can't let the powers that be the people that fuel the culture, yo. We have to fuel the culture, so that's why I love podcasts like this, and I'll always support you guys because, you know, if y'all don't do it, I don't know who will.
Kardinal Offishall.
Big up your chest and I say our word, road
Yeah,
boy.
man, thank you, brother. Listen,
Absolutely.
Kardi, always, man. Thank you. And we're going to do this again. Yo, King, what up?
Yeah, that was a dope one. Yo, man, again, shout out to the internets. You can rate, subscribe, and comment as usual. Tweet at us. Hit us up on the voicemail, 347. I forgot the number. God damn it.
What?
347-746. Okay, I got it. 347-746-2080. Hit us up on the
Great save.
I know.
That was a great save. You out have been hot, King.
Yo.
Nah, listen, internets, man. Shout out to Kardi.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to A King, and shout out to all of y'all. You know what it is, man. Dream those dreams, and then man up, woman up, and live those dreams. Because a life without dreams is black and white, and if the universe flows in technicolor surround sound, this nigga right here is not going anywhere. Watch and debate your moms. I'm here. Let's go, niggas.
Let's get it up. Bomb bat.